Don't know why I did that. Felt like it. No, that's really it. I just felt like it. So, about 20 hours ago, as of recording this video, there was a post made on Reddit by the user TDCAU Girl titled "Calling out all the modern day fans, hashtag modern day matters," which is in the fan content section. I don't know why. Basically, what this user is saying is they stated that Juno's arc will indeed be moved away from the games and be concluded in Transmedia. If you don't know what that means, basically in this case comics and things, as opposed to the main games, which is annoying. Obviously it's part of the main games, the main media, which you can't change because that's how it started, that's how the franchise started, was in the games. That makes it by default unchangeably the main media, and then it's been removed from the main media and now it's in Transmedia, basically is what's going on here. And basically this post is about that's annoying, this is not right, etc, etc, and I agree, that's a stupid move. I think that's an incredibly weak-footed move, to move the main plot point of what was the overarching story of the modern day and moving it into Transmedia. That's like taking what makes the story important and shifting it out and then putting filler that we've been getting for the past few years in instead, which is annoying, and in hindsight it's exactly what's been happening. Then this person goes on to say, "No more, this has to stop. I agree. We're not going to stand here and let our beloved series lose its identity and become historical GTAs, are we? We've been here for 3, 5, 10 years, loyal fans, since from the very start. We know our lore and we demand respect for it. AC is not AC without any of its 3 stories, past, present and first civ." I feel as if first civ sort of mixes with past and present a little bit, but I get what you mean by 3 stories. The past and present are separate ones, I agree with that. That's what makes this series so unique. That's what makes Assassin's Creed Assassin's Creed. And we know the modern day is the main story which dictates what happens in the games, not on the contrary. So, okay, first of all, the modern day is the main overarching story, not necessarily the main story. Each game has a case-by-case basis sort of main story of its own, where you basically go into the historical settings, but like, the overarching story is the modern day. Yeah, I get that. That should be consistent throughout the games. In previous years it's been a bit on the back burner, but it's coming back a little bit now. And what do I want from you? The post says. First, change your flares to any modern day character you like with the hashtag modern day Matt. I don't know what that means. Don't know. I'm not really too versed with Reddit, so I'd assume that's a Reddit thing. Second, tweet Amar Azasia, the head of content for Assassin's Creed at Ubisoft, this phrase: "The modern day is the actual main story since the first game. We want it in the games. Hashtag modern day matters," along with any other commentary you wish to make. So that second point there, let's just get that out of the way before we continue talking about why the modern day does matter. We need to talk about tweeting Amar Azasia with hashtag modern day matters. Yeah, don't do that, because you've been encouraged to spam him, and then that's his personal Twitter, I do believe, so he'll receive loads and loads and loads of messages of people saying the exact same thing. That's annoying. And at the same time, Amar Azasia can't do anything, necessarily. He's trying his hardest, he's got that position, but he's got people he's got to listen to from higher up than him as well. Not necessarily about dictating the lore facts and things, but basically telling him to get it right and get it done. And that's what the higher ups are doing. If he doesn't do that, he loses his job. And at this point, he probably will be replaced by somebody who doesn't care. Now, people have been tweeting at Amar Azasia with this, and he did shoot back. But before we get into that, let's just address what some people have been saying. So, I do remember one person saying, "Don't you care about Assassin's Creed?" sort of implying that he doesn't care about Assassin's Creed. Now, to justify that, of course Amar Azasia cares. It's his job to care. He got his job because he cared. So that's out of the way. We know that Amar Azasia cares about the franchise because that's his job, and that's how he got his job. Basically, there's a lot of different variations on that. Why don't we go into Amar Azasia's little rant where he addresses it. So he basically took to Twitter to set things straight, which was within his right. I would be annoyed too if people were tweeting me this non-stop and there was nothing else coming in, because that would get really annoying. I have said that the main story in each game is the story set in the past. Apparently some folks think that means that I shit on the modern day and say it's irrelevant. What he's saying by that is the historical setting is basically the main story of that game. Like I said, it's very case by case because the main story in each game follows a different protagonist, etc. The overarching story is the modern day in the main games. That's what goes on. Every time I say overarching, I have the urge to So first, understand I thought my arse off to get more present day in everything, books, games, etc. So he's acknowledging that people want more modern day and he's trying his hardest to please everybody. Now, he's given no reason to lie here. Now, I trust his word. I'd imagine that he probably does want to put more modern day in. He said a lot of things basically. He goes on to say, the modern day is pivotal and is the glue that ties all of our projects together. No one, especially me, thinks any different. Yet when I say main story of a game is set in the past, I mean it. So there's a lot of things that Amar says there that's fair enough. He's basically just trying to set things straight to avoid being further spammed on Twitter by this hashtag modern day matter. Before we get back into what the problem is here that's caused this, why don't we talk about hashtag modern day matters itself. Now, some people have been equating it to the Black Lives Matter movement, saying that it's a play on that and it's inappropriate, which I think saying hashtag something matters is not a play on the Black Lives Matter thing. It's catchy, got it. Alright, it is catchy, but there's no need to be offended by the word matters, because that'll be a whole new level. I am worried about 2018 if people get offended by the word matter, or matters, by association with previous Twitter hashtags. And it's fair if you want to use the hashtag, go ahead, I'm not going to stop you. Another thing that's I saw in a tweet by Luma is that he mentioned that tweeting this at Amar Azaziah does imply that he doesn't care, and like I said before, Amar quite clearly does, because that's his job. That's how he probably got his job. Now, although I don't necessarily agree with taking to Twitter and tweeting at Amar, I don't mind if you tweet it just as it is. I don't care about that. Tweeting at Amar though, I feel as if that's a little bit unfair to put it all on him when there's a lot more to blame than just Amar. Of course, he's done a few things that I haven't agreed with in the years, but, you know, he's got to make the hard decisions. That's kind of the head of content's job as well, isn't it? To make some of the harder decisions that some people don't like. I don't mind sometimes acknowledging that I'm in a minority. It's very rare. I'm usually so up my own arse that I wouldn't even notice, but it happens. I don't think it's fair to tweet this directly at Amar. Of course, it's something that needs to be addressed no matter, even if there is a hashtag or not. That the modern day, taking Juno's story arc from the main media and moving that into Transmedia, that is perhaps one of the dumbest moves that you could do, because that makes a really incredibly weak-footed thing for the rest of the games from there out. Because we spent all this time building up thinking Juno was the main antagonist of the entire franchise and stuff like that, like the entire series, and then the massive climax at the end of all the games was going to be us facing down with Juno in the modern day, and basically that. But that's going to be wrapped up in a side arc. So what's going to happen with the main media? So yeah, the issue here is that's not a good move. Moving Juno from the games into side media, transmedia like comics, books, colouring books, cookbooks. Can you imagine if Juno's Arch was wrapped up in a cookbook? Nah, an Instagram post. They'll just wrap it up there. I wouldn't put it past some people at this point when it comes to silly things. They've done this before with things like we found in the database, like hints to Desmond's son, and we found hints going back as far as Brotherhood hinting to Desmond's son. Where did they introduce Desmond's son? Comic book. They also gave him a name in a comic book, which is Elijah Miles. I don't even know if that was a comic book. I don't even care. That's how little I care about the transmedia. I signed up for a game series when I played Assassin's Creed 1 all those years ago, and I plan to stick to a game series. So yeah, I do agree it's incredibly silly to move Juno's story arc from the main media where it was started and putting it in transmedia where less people care. I get why they want to encourage people to branch out into the transmedia. They want to increase the surface area of their fan base as much as possible, which makes sense, fair enough. But at the same time, it sort of backfired and it comes across as they're more holding a major plot point to ransom in comic books, so people are forced to branch out to the main from the main media into the transmedia. Yeah, as a result, less people are going to be interested in the entire franchise, and most people are just going to drop it and walk away. This stuff needs to be in the games because the games are the main media. You cannot change what's the main media because it started as games, as I've said, probably. So that's basically the problem here. This needs to be a thing in the games, not a thing in a comic book, a movie, a book. It can't be in a culinary codex. It can't be on the foot of an action figure. It has to be in the games, because that's the franchise that we all signed up for all those years ago. They might have ideas for the future of the franchise. They might blow us away with something later on down the line, but at the moment it is a bit disappointing to hear that Juno's Arch has been moved into transmedia. And I am disappointed. I'm actually quite annoyed at that. It's a stupid move, a very stupid move. It's probably the dumbest move actually, of all of the moves that you've done, that one takes the cake, if it's a thing. I don't have a primary source for this. If it's a thing, I'm going to say. I don't know where the primary source will be found. But at the same time, they might be promising other things down the line that might come. We don't know. Obviously, we're not in control. We have to rant. Of course we do. We have to make our points known. And all that stuff. I feel as if, yeah, it's silly. I can't even go anywhere beyond that. That's the most ridiculous thing that I've probably seen in a while. Moving Juno's story arc from the games where people cared into Transmedia. Yeah. But anyway, there's really not much else to go on about because I've basically cleared up everything I wanted to talk about. Juno going into the Transmedia as opposed to being finished off in the main games. Weak-footed. The Modern Day Matters hashtag is fine as long as you're not tweeting it at Amar Azasia or anybody else directly, because that can be quite bothersome, and Amar isn't 100% responsible for all this corporate stick. So those are the things I wanted to wrap up, really. Of course, I do agree, modern day does matter, and it needs to sort of be sorted out, because this massive mess is the Assassin's Creed universe as far as consistency and following it goes. But I don't think that tweeting Amar Azasia alone is really going to solve anything. Hopefully this video cleared up a few things, though. Usually when I get these things, I sit here and I think that I've just talked nonsense for however long. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share. Let me know what you think down in the comments, obviously. Get involved. Let me know what you think. That's important. And maybe we can make a difference the right way by not harassing anybody on Twitter. If we share this video as much as possible, get it seen, and, you know, get the message as far across as possible the right way. And I'll see you all very soon with another video at some point.